It's you. You came back. Welcome back to another fun and exciting day here in eastern North Carolina. The sun is out. It is cool. I think the temperature's supposed to get up to 45-ish, but it's a dry day and it's a sunny day and it's a good day to get some things done that need to get done. The to-do list is growing. I need to make it shrink. The to-do, I don't know about you guys, but my to-do list never disappears. It never goes away. It's size management. How large do I let the to-do list get? So anyways, today, here I am out on the potting bench, and I'm going to use one of my wood trays, which you probably just saw me filling up there, with some homemade compost. Now what I did is I took some of my compost that I had in my garden bins there, my compost bins. I sieved it out once, and that gets out a lot of the uncomposted things like small twigs, pine cones, pine needles, various things like that, large chunks of grass which have just clumped and haven't decayed enough to do their thing. Throw them all back into the compost pile, and then what I'm left with is some really rough looking compost, but it's excellent to use anywhere basically, except if you're going to be planting out or doing seeds. Because it's so rough, the seeds really, there'll be too many air gaps in between all the little chunks of compost, and seeds won't have a good time. So what I did is I sieved it again using a finer sieve that I have, and that then gives me what you see here. This is some nice fine stuff, and what I did was I mixed in some coir, which again, if you're new to gardening or if you don't know what coir is, it's like ground coconut husk and the hairs of coconuts, and it's basically the waste refuse from coconuts. There's a whole thing about that too. We'll talk about that at some other point. Today we're just planting. I also added in some vermiculite, I apologize, perlite. So perlite, garden compost, and coir. Woo! I am getting old and senile. My head's actually going in 3 different directions right now. I'm thinking about various things, like the next step. So what I'm going to be planting up today is some onions. I'm going to plant up 2 varieties. One is Walla Walla, which I planted last year, and I had about a dozen in the garden beds. One did its thing, came to full size. My wife ate it, she loved it. The others, actually, the ones that survived, I think there's 4 or 5 of them still in there. They haven't really gotten large or large enough. So they're still in there overwintering. They're doing their thing. Maybe in the springtime they'll be large enough then I could pull them out and we can get something out of it. Otherwise, whatever's in the beds will get thrown back into the compost pile because they'll just be material for the following season or whatever. But that bed that they're in will be recycled. In fact, the bed that they're in, I think I'm going to do half sunflowers and half tomatoes. And the reason I'm going to do that is because apparently sunflowers attract the long-legged leaf bugs, and stink bugs too. But the long-legged leaf bugs, there's just way more than there are stink bugs down here, and at least in my garden. And they puncture the tomatoes and they draw out the juices, and then it kills the tomatoes, and it's just a bad thing. I'm also probably going to get a cage to put the tomatoes in, like an insect cage, but again, we'll talk about that later down the road. Today, like I said, I'm planting out some onions. I'm going to start them as seeds indoors, and then when they start getting large enough, I will then be taking them and breaking them apart, as it were. You'll see in a second, but I'll break them apart, and then I'll put them out into the garden beds. Which bed, I don't know yet, but it'll happen. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. Now, if you've ever grown seeds or started seeds indoors, onion seeds, and you've had different successes or you've grown different varieties, please let me know. I'm always want to hear from you people, and I'm new to this. I mean, this is I'm going into my 5th year of gardening. Wow. Well, but like I said, I got mixed results last year, and I'm going to plant these fairly close together. I'm going to kind of do a row. Couple of rows here. And another row right here. There we go, that looks good. Now these are the Walla Wallas, so I'm going to put a stick back here, identifying them as Walla Wallas. The other variety I'm going to grow is called Candy Hybrid. Now apparently Candy Hybrid grows well in the south. Oh, I'm just checking the instructions here on the back of the packet. A lot of these are from Gurney's, and a lot of manufacturers, or not manufacturers, vendors of seeds, they often put some good information on the back here. So it prefers rich, deeply cultivated soil, plant 1/4 inch deep. Okay, so that tells me that's something else too. So now I'm not pushing these into the dirt right now, I'm just laying them on top. So then what I'll do is I'll come back and put down another layer, maybe about 1/4 inch of compost on top of these, since they apparently want to be a little deeper, which is fine. I don't think it would harm the plant if the compost was about 1/2 inch or so. Let's see what these look like. Okay. Okay. Now apparently the candy hybrids are supposed to be sweeter. I, again, don't know much about, I'm just going off what the catalog said. Okay, I didn't want to put any seeds back into the envelope, so I just dumped whatever I had left in my hand. And I'll just take some of the seed mix that I had. There we go. Roughly 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. Just want to even it out, make sure everything's getting covered. I will close these up. Now once these start sprouting and they start getting large, that'll be fine. And then when they're ready to be planted out, I will take them out into the garden and show you the next step. If I fail to do so, please leave a comment below. Okay, I've given them a good soak. And next I'll put them back onto the seed starting station. If you hadn't seen my seed starting station, then you can go back to the last video. You can check out me cleaning up my seed starting station and preparing it. So I'm going to put these on the seed starting station. I have a bunch of other stuff to put into trays and prepare. I'm not going to bore you with that. It'll be basically the same thing. Follow the instructions on the envelope, but then I will show you what I've planted up today, and then we'll move on to the next task. So like movie magic. Okay, so here we are. I have my 2 different types of onions in the wood seed tray. I have 2 different types of lavender, English lavender, Munstead lavender. I tried growing these last year with mixed results. It might have been too late in the year, not sure. I used up what seed packets I had left, and I have purchased new, I believe, English lavender, but I'll plant that probably in the next upcoming few weeks. Over here I have Tango green celery. Never grown celery from seed, so that'll be a first for me. If you've grown celery from seed, please leave a comment below. Let me know how you fared, good, bad, anything I should be cautious of or aware of. Anywho, that's what I've planted out today. Now on to the next thing on my to-do list. Okay, so here we are at the front of the property, and last year I planted out these 2 pear trees. I'm standing in front of one of them now, and they've done well, except last year towards the end of summer they wound up getting a bit of black spot fungus, I believe. I treated them, but it was tough to treat with the rain and stuff, because you spray it on, then you get a downpour and it kind of washes off, and then the fungus comes back, the black spot. So then you spray them again and it goes away. But in the meantime, the plant is reacting because it's trying to throw out as many leaves as it can to survive, to do its whole photosynthesis thing, right? So what it does is it throws out all these crazy branches, and some of these branches crisscross and touch one another. So what I'm going to do today is just do a little pruning, thinning, and removing anything that I don't necessarily want that might crisscross or threaten to crisscross. So for instance, I have this branch right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's dangerously close to the branch in front of it. It's growing straight up. I don't necessarily want that. So I'm just gonna snip that off. And looking at the rest of the tree, I see another one over here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna take the whole branch. I'm just going to take that part of it, and there's a nice bud growing on the end of it. There's lots of buds on this tree, which is nice. I am going to remove the stake that I used to hold it in place. Okay, so the stake can come out. Oh dear. Well, this stake just broke off at the base, so it was going to be little of no use soon enough anyways. But the tree has rooted in well enough. I don't think we're going to need it. I think if we do wind up getting a severe storm, I definitely will restake it if need be. But in the meantime, we're looking good. I just noticed there's a small bud over here. And it looks like it's going to form another branch that's going to go vertical, which will touch the parent branch. So I'll trim that off. And then there's a branch over here. Let me see if I can get you a close-up. So this is the branch I'm talking about, and you can see how it crisscrosses over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip that branch right off. There we go. And now that wound will heal up, and there'll be no more rubbing against. Here's another one. It kind of looks fine, but if you follow it up, it starts to rub against some buds. So we're going to remove that one. And I think that might be it for now. Yep, I think that's it for now. The tree overall looks pretty good. Again, it did throw up a lot of branches in response to that black fungal. I will keep an eye on this throughout this upcoming year. I've now learned my lesson, and I will treat the tree if needed as it grows. But right now I don't see any of the branches that are diseased, dying, rubbing against one another. So I think we're going to be okay with this tree. Let's head over to the other one. Okay, so now this tree I'm examining, and I see a couple of these smaller branches that again came from buds. They're crisscrossing over. We're just going to trim them back. Those wounds should heal up. From what I've read, and it makes absolute perfect sense, it's common sense in a way, make sure you have sharp secateurs to do this. You don't want to tear the bark, which would invite more disease or something else along the lines. So sharp secateurs, these are the Felcos that just recently upgraded, as it were, or fixed. You can watch that video, a couple of videos ago. If I remember, I'll leave a link below or above. I don't want this branch down here. And let's take you out. Now there's one more problem with this tree. And the problem with this tree, well, the other problem with this tree, is again because of the fungal infection, it threw up one of its branches way up there. So I don't necessarily want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it down to be more in line with the other branches right about there. But what I'll do is I'll cut it right at a bud. Right about here. Okay. And I cut on an angle to try to let the water slosh off so it doesn't soak into the wood, as it were. But now the tree is more in line with the rest of the branches. Now I'm no gardening expert by far, and a lot of what I've just explained what I'm doing is stuff that I've read on the internet. So if you have any other suggestions, advice, if you're a better gardener than I am, which is probably most of you out there, please feel free to leave a comment below. I keep saying that. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. It's very important this way you don't miss an episode of, if you subscribe, hit that bell icon, you can follow along, see where we are at in July, August, when this tree might be more prone to that black spot fungus, and how I'm dealing with it. So I think, there's one more task. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to move some wood chips. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new to the channel, you've watched my other videos, you know that I have a couple of piles of wood chips that I have left over from trees that were taken down on the property. And I'm repurposing all of these wood chips, some as pathways around my raised beds, which are kind of a mess right now, and I got to talk about that in another video. And others I'm going to use as fill in different parts of the garden. One of them is the rose garden. So let me load up a wheelbarrow and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so as you can see, I just dumped some wood chips on the ground, but this is one of the back corners of the rose garden. And this backside and then the long side, this year I'm going to take the wood chips that I have from the pile you just saw up front, and I'm going to bring them into here and I'm going to fill out these beds, as it were. Now I'm not going to plant into this back bed or this side bed this year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wood chips to help raise up the ground. So I'll put down some wood chips, I'll put down some grass clippings from when I mow the lawn, put down some more wood chips, and in 2 to 3 years, hopefully, it'll have rotten down enough that I can then start planting into it. Maybe 5 years. We'll see. Again, it depends upon, you know, the heat, the weather, the sun, etc., the bugs, hurricanes, whatever else may occur. Again, the beds will be 12 foot deep. I have come up with a plan for the rose garden going forward. Here's the plan, as it were. Hopefully you can understand this. I will try to post this up on my website, growingagreenfinger.com. So you can go there, check it out. If I forget to post it up on the website and you goes to check, please just shoot me a thing here, you know, leave a message below or shoot me an email on my website. If you go to the contact page, there's a link there for the email, and just say, hey, you forgot to put up the rose garden plan. I will respond. I will put up the thing. I'll probably forget, but yeah, so remind me if I do forget. But so the beds are going to be 12 feet deep along the, well, already the one side where I've been planting the rose garden, the front and this side. The back here is going to be a slightly different design. And again, I'll put that up in the picture so you can see. And the back wall right here, what I'm looking at hopefully down the road, will be a lot of large shrubs, maybe some Nellie Stevens, I think it's Nellie Stevens hollies. I think that's the name. If I'm wrong, I'll post it up someplace. But hopefully I have a hedgerow of them. And what I plan on doing is again, for maintenance down the road, that will not be a trimmed hedge. It'll be a rough hedge. So if the plants get 10 foot wide, the plants get 10 foot wide, they'll come 10 feet out into the beds. That only then leaves me about 2 feet in front of them to plant something if I do. But I'm going to let them grow and fill out and, you know, to their natural size, and it'll be a different contrast to the well-trimmed hedges that I plan on having everywhere else in the rose garden. So that hopefully will be exciting in the next, you know, 3 to 5 years. It's going to take time. So, but again, you have to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon below to be notified when I do post up a new video, so that you can then see what's going on. I'm going to keep working at this for a little while. I'm not going to fill out the beds or finish filling out the space with all the wood chips today. There's just too much to do. But if I can get 3 or 4 wheelbarrow loads done today, that'll be great. And then maybe, you know, later in the week, I can get another few wheelbarrow loads done, so on and so forth. It doesn't need to be done today, so it's all done today. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully this will be a short video once I get done editing it. I'm going to say it for the umpteenth millionth time. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Tell your friends, families, loved ones. Grumpy old guy across the street. I've got this wacky channel. I'm building a garden here in eastern North Carolina, growing zone 8A. If you don't follow me on Instagram, give a follow on Instagram. I often post pictures there that you won't see here on YouTube, or at least I try to keep the content different. Please check out all the links below. I have some merchandise if you want to help support the channel. A couple of t-shirts, sweatshirt like this. Hopefully I have some new merch coming up later this year. Maybe some cooler looking t-shirts or something. I don't know, I'm still playing around with ideas. There's links to my Etsy store that I have, Bad Wood Goods, where I made the wooden pallet tray. I have some for sale if you'd like to buy some. If you guys want to see some smaller wood trays than what I currently have up there, or have suggestions, please, again, hit the comments below. Check out the Etsy store and my other YouTube channel, Bad Wood Goods, where I try to show you me making this stuff. That's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.